Review of the Game Gear. Is it worth it? Now, yesterday I reviewed Mortal Kombat and I kind of half-assed it. I've been under a lot of stress lately with the family, so I thought I should redo the episode and just look on the good side because I only focused on the bad side yesterday. So let's redo this video. Alright, Sega's Game Gear. Sega Game Gear was a counterpart to Nintendo's Game Boy. Back in the 90s, these two consoles, the Game Boy and the Game Gear, fought out for battle. Unfortunately, the Game Boy won because it was better. Now, what I have today on my Game Gear is Miss Pac-Man, Mortal Kombat, Primal Rage, X-Men, Aladdin, and... hold on. I think it's NBA Jam. Hang on. Yep, an NBA Jam. Hold on, I'm going to turn off the light so you can see better and the light don't flash. Okay. Now you can see as the Game Gear has a lit up screen, my Game Gear sound is dead. I have to use headphones because, well, think about it. This thing came out in the 1990s, around that time. This thing is pretty old, so yeah, you're going to imagine the sound's going to wear out sooner or later, but it can be replaced. Now, the Game Gear, it's going to be hard to play and show you at the same time, so I'm going to try my best, but mostly it's going to be hard to play. But overall, I'm going to... hold on, turn the light back on. But overall, I'm going to review these games and tell you how much it is or isn't worth it. So let's start with Miss Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man, where could you go wrong? This game was actually very phenomenon. It is still played in arcades today and holds up very well to its counterpart, Pac-Man. It is actually a great sequel. Mortal Kombat. Boy, do I have something to say about this. Don't worry, they're not bad. This game, after playing it another round around, I actually beat it finally. And I found out you can't just rush into the game. You gotta take your time, especially with Goro and Raiden. Goro and Raiden in this game are pretty tough. When you get to the endurance match, they can really be like, you want to get up? No, tough shit, asshole. You ain't getting up. But overall, take your time in this game, learn strategy, and eventually you'll beat it. I did. Alright, next one. Primal Rage. Now, Primal Rage was actually a good, decent port. This is actually a pretty good port of the arcade. Primal Rage is basically like dinosaurs fighting it out like Mortal Kombat. So basically, it's Mortal Kombat, but dinosaur fighting style. X-Men. Everybody loved X-Men in the 90s. The show was a great phenomenon. Now, I haven't seen the movies, the live-action ones, so I don't know what to say there. I haven't, because I haven't seen much of them. But I will say, when I was a kid, I loved the X-Men show in the 90s. So if you're a 90s fan of the X-Men show, I recommend getting it. Aladdin. Okay, where can you go wrong with this game? This game is actually pretty good. When I played it, I expected to use the sword like Sega Genesis, but no, not really. It's kind of like the Super Nintendo version, but overall, it's an adventure game. It actually is very, very fun. You can complete it in one setting, and there's infinite continue, so you don't lose. This game is very, very fun. I will be amazed to admit this game is worth it. Now, NBA Jam. NBA Jam is actually an arcade port of its predecessor. Now, I'll have to admit, is this game worth it? Hell yeah, it is. It's one of my favorite games of all time. NBA Jam was actually the greatest arcade in the 90s. One of them. I know there's more. But overall, NBA Jam, is it a good port? Yeah, it is. For what it is, it's still a great port. Hold on, let me try and show you some gameplay real quick. Hold on. I know I'm not doing good. Hang on. I'm only one person. Hang on, maybe if I do it this way. Okay, there we go. Wait, hang on. I know I can't do much footage of the game because I'm only a one person and most of my friends have work, and I cannot blame them. They have to work to make a living. But I will say, the Game Gear Even though the 90s console wars are over, the Game Gear is actually pretty still amazing. Now, is it worth it? Okay, here's my review. I will admit, the Game Gear is very, very good when it comes to entertainment in the car. But there's a flaw. No, it's not negative. I just had to put out the flaw. Hang on. I think everybody knows the flaw of the Game Gear. Hang on. If I can get it. It likes to be stubborn. There's the flaw. It requires 6 AA batteries. But I had to replace them about every 2 hours. But is it worth it? We're almost there. I'll give you my opinion. But overall, if you're going to play the Game Gear, make sure you stack up on batteries because this thing can drain them about 2 to 3 hours, depending on what battery you have. But overall, hang on. Put the cover back on. Oh, hold on, wrong side. Sorry guys, I'm trying my best. Being gentle, these things. Oh, that's another thing I'm going to mention. The Game Gear is extremely fragile. If you drop it, it's game over. This thing is extremely fragile. You have to be careful with this thing. So, hold on, let me line the games up. Overall, is it worth it? I'm gonna have to say no, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding, guys. It's worth it. Alright, yeah, this thing's very well worth it. Even though the battery life may not be good as the Game Boy, I still find this thing entertaining. It is actually very good for car trips, or if you're on the bus, or if you're just running errands in the car and you're bored. This thing is well worth it. So if you're going to get a Game Gear, I recommend getting Mortal Kombat, Aladdin, Miss Pac-Man if you just want to play a calm game, and NBA Jam. And X-Men. I just got this from a friend, so he just gave me this at random. I haven't playing this much, but I gave him my description. Overall, the Game Gear is well worth it. Just don't forget to pack batteries, because remember, this thing can die in 2 to 3 hours, depending on what battery you have. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I don't know what I'm going to do for our next Is It Worth It? If you guys have any ideas, drop them in the comments below. And as always, stay surviving.